The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in chaos. Representatives from 47 species filled the crystal amphitheater on Nexus Prime, their varied forms creating a cacophony of concerned chittering, bellowing, and telepathic distress. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Hyel of Earth, her dark eyes calm and resolute as she faced the Council's growing panic. "Ambassador Hyel, you cannot be serious," screeched the Vaxian delegate, its translucent membrane pulsing red with agitation. "Humanity withdraws from all treaties? All trade agreements? This is madness." Hale stood motionless, her hands clasped behind her back in perfect military posture. She had been humanity's voice for 3 years, navigating the treacherous political waters of galactic diplomacy with grace and patience. But today that patience had run out. "The decision is final," she stated, her voice carrying across the vast chamber without amplification. "Effective immediately, humanity severs all diplomatic relations with the Galactic Council. We are recalling our ambassadors, closing our borders, and withdrawing from all mutual defense pacts." The Council erupted. This was unprecedented in the 12,000 years of galactic civilization. No species had ever voluntarily isolated themselves from the greatest alliance the galaxy had ever known. High Counselor Thrain, a towering Korthak whose species had founded the Council millennia ago, raised 4 of his 6 arms for silence. "Ambassador, we understand your frustration with the recent trade disputes, but this reaction is disproportionate. Let us negotiate." "Negotiate?" Hale's laugh was sharp and bitter. "For 3 years we've negotiated. We've compromised. We've bent our principles and swallowed our pride, while the Council's member states have stolen our technology, sabotaged our colonies, and spread vicious propaganda about the savage humans. When we brought evidence of the Zeltharian raids on our outer settlements, you called it insufficient. When our merchant vessels were seized by Draxian pirates operating with government protection, you advised patience. When the Confederation attempted to patent our own genetic sequencing technology under their name, you ruled it a cultural misunderstanding." The Zeltharian ambassador hissed in protest. But Hyel continued, her voice rising with each word. "You've treated humanity as children to be managed, resources to be exploited, and threats to be contained. You've underestimated us at every turn because we're young, because we're newcomers, because we dare to have our own ideas about how a galactic civilization should function." On Earth, in the gleaming towers of the United Terran Government headquarters, Kevin watched the live transmission with a slight smile playing on his lips. As humanity's chief strategic advisor, he had helped craft every word of Hyel's speech, anticipated every objection the Council would raise. But more importantly, he had spent the last 2 years preparing for this exact moment. "Sir, the Council feed is going wild," reported his aide, displaying scrolling data across the holographic interface. 17 species have requested immediate emergency consultations. The Vaxian stock markets are in freefall. The Korthak military has raised its alert status." "Perfect," Kevin murmured, his fingers dancing across the command console. "Execute Phase 2. Across human space, a transformation began. Colony shields that had appeared merely defensive suddenly revealed themselves as impenetrable barriers utilizing technology the Council didn't know humans possessed. Trade routes that other species had grown dependent upon closed without warning, and most shocking of all, human vessels began appearing in disputed territories across the galaxy, claiming and fortifying systems that had been under negotiation for years. Back at the Council, sensors began screaming warnings. A Draxian military commander burst into the chamber. "High Counselor, human fleets have just occupied the Xerxes cluster, the Thanatos Nebula, and the Kepler Straits. They're establishing permanent installations." Panic transformed into fury. "This is an act of war," bellowed the Draxian ambassador. Hale's expression didn't change. "Is it? We're simply claiming unclaimed territories. The Council's own charter states that any unoccupied system may be settled by any member species through a formal declaration. We're following your own rules. Those systems were promised to the Draxian hegemony," the ambassador roared. "Promised. Not granted. Not settled. Just promised. In closed-door negotiations that violated the Council's transparency protocols." Hyel produced a data crystal and placed it on the chamber's central platform. "This contains evidence of 47 different backroom deals, bribery schemes, and treaty violations committed by council members over the past decade alone. We have documentation. We have recordings. We have everything. The silence that followed was deafening. High Counselor Thrain's skin had turned a sickly gray color. "What do you want, Ambassador?" On Earth, Kivan allowed himself a genuine smile as he watched Hayal deliver the killing blow. "What we want," Hayal said slowly, savoring each word, "is for you to understand something fundamental about humanity. We didn't come to the stars to be your subordinates or your prey. We came as equals. And if you cannot treat us as such, we will forge our own path." She turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and one more thing. Over the past 2 years, 17 species have approached us secretly, frustrated with council corruption and tired of Korthak hegemony. They're withdrawing with us. Together, we're forming the Free Worlds Alliance. We'll be sharing our technology, our resources, and our mutual defense capabilities exclusively among our members." The council chamber exploded into chaos as ambassadors frantically tried to determine if their own species were among the defectors. Kivan's aide looked at him with something approaching awe. "Sir, how did you know they'd react exactly this way?" "Because," Kivan replied, watching as the great and powerful Galactic Council tore itself apart in recriminations and blame, "they forgot the most important thing about humanity. We're not just survivors. We're not just warriors. We're chess players. And we've been playing this game since before we left our own planet." 3 months later, the Galactic Council sent a formal request for humanity to return to negotiations. The terms they offered were unprecedented in their generosity. Equal voting rights, technology sharing agreements, reparations for past grievances. Hayal, now serving as the first Secretary General of the Free Worlds Alliance, sent back a simple message: "We'll consider it." And the galaxy learned that day what humanity had known all along: respect isn't given. It's earned. And sometimes the only way to earn it is to walk away and show them what they're missing. The age of human deference had ended. The age of human dominance had just begun.